Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. It is a real pleasure. I've been following your work for a while now, be it in Hjort or the Haze Miasma. So it's a genuine pleasure to speak with you. Simply put, how are you today?
It's a difficult question. Most days I'm very fine, but today I'm not in the best mood. It's just there happened something really bad in Mannheim, my residence here. There was some stupid, brutal kind of attack in Mannheim today. Someone drove with his car in the masses onto a carnival celebration, and it was just quite some 100 meters away from my working place. So you always heard the helicopters cruising, and the mood in the whole town today is quite absurd. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite, yeah, it's awful. Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? I mean,
So,
incredibly horrible event to happen. I'm sorry that you and your people you're around have had to go through that, unfortunately. And fingers crossed that everybody comes out healthy and well, and life moves on, and everybody's okay and happy going forward.
yeah.
Okay. What in life right now is kind of keeping you busy, both from a personal and a professional perspective?
So what keeps me busy all the days and weeks? Um, yeah. Normally in my normal life, I work as a social worker, and this takes just much time of my life, I guess. Um, but a part of that, and meeting friends and something like that, music is really the biggest part, I would guess. So, as you mentioned, there's not only Hjort, there's Haze Miasma and some smaller other stuff, some fun projects. So that's what I do when I have some free time left. Um, and if I'm not making music, then I'm probably somewhere outside, climbing a hill or somewhere in the mountains, or it was just winter, so I like to go cross country skiing. What's not that easy anymore because you there isn't snow anymore everywhere here in my region, so I have to go to the Alps or somewhere. And yeah, that are things that I really do, doing some sports, being outside and such things. Yeah.
So you are able, considering all the musical projects you have going and all the time you spend making music, you are able to step away and go and enjoy nature, as it were, and just go out and just step away from music for a while.
Yeah, I think one thing wouldn't happen without the other, because this nature thing and the atmosphere, being outside and seeing those wide landscapes, and maybe the mood in a forest, and even in winter and autumn, this is quite the same mood I feel when I do some musical stuff. And yeah, I think that's quite important for me as a inspiration. So yeah.
Of course, anybody that knows your music knows how intrinsic nature, as you say, is within it. Because, of course, we are talking about your latest release, Evolve 428. And what an incredible release it is. It's been out since January 24th by Inertial Music. So it's been about 5 weeks, plenty of time for listeners to wrap their ears around each masterpiece moment. So tell me, so far, 5 weeks on, how have you found the reaction to it overall?
Mm, I would say it's just um, still a very small project. So I think most people didn't hear of this project. So, but I'm really glad about the reaction I got from the few people who reacted, and there were quite some people who listened it, who streamed it. So this is quite cool, and we only have a small amount of vinyl copies, just a limited edition, but this works quite well, as I heard from Inertial Music. So yeah, I'm really happy about that, because I started quite with zero with this project, and it is just a solo project. I'm not going on tour with it. I'm not playing live, so it's quite hard to promote it and to get to know, to get people to listen to it, because there is so much music everywhere in the on the internet. So yeah, it's not that easy, but I'm really happy about that, and I'm really happy about the cooperation with Inertial Music, because without them there would be nothing, I guess, about this project. So this is quite nice. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're happy with what you've achieved with it so far. It's still so early, 5 weeks since release. There's a long
Yeah.
time to go before the dust even is considered settled on this. Um, have you picked out any like reviews or even online comments about the new record that stood out for you for either a good or a bad reason?
Yeah, there really were. Just there wasn't a bad review at all. All the reviews we got I got for this project were really nice and very good. So and I really remember your reaction video. I really liked it when you
Oh,
talked with, I think he's called Brandon. So
hmm.
I really liked this stuff. I also liked it when you did it for Haze Miasma, because you're really talking, you have really deep talk about that. And I really like that, because that's what I do with some of my friends who are quite deep into music as I am. And this is quite, yeah, nice to hear somebody talking about my own music and just trying to feel the vibe I gave into it. And this is, yeah, the best thing that could happen. And it doesn't really matter if the other side really likes it or not, but just taking time and giving it a chance and thinking about it and talking about it. Yeah, that's the coolest thing about it, I think.
I think so too. And hopefully ourselves and others as well continue to spread the word so more and more people can hear it and it gets a little bit further out there with the label doing their part as well. But I'm now going to take you back in time. We're going to go back a bit, back to the earliest point in time where the record spark first kind of bloomed. You have I-III in 2022. At what stage did work then begin on this next chapter, and how clear was your vision?
Yeah, the vision wasn't clear at all when I did this trilogy thing, because it wasn't really meant as an EP or something like that. It wasn't released at yeah, one all at the same time. It was just, I started this Hjort thing, and it was just, yeah, I wanted to do something really on myself and just an instrumental thing. And yeah, at that time I wanted it to be quite different from Haze Miasma. So the first tracks were very monotone and noisy a bit, and yeah, darker than the album now. Yeah, and then I just did one song and released it. And yeah, then I had fun with recording another song and I released it. And in the end, there were three, so it was a trilogy. But it was without any ambition to make something out of it. But then there were some things happening, yeah, last year or 2 years ago. And yeah, I had some, I had really much inspiration and really much output, musical output. And I really wanted to start new with Hjort, and I really had the urge to start it, to create music as an album. And this was, at that point, it was really my vision. And every note you hear, every sound was really thought in this album context. And this was quite clear from the beginning. Now let's try to do a whole album. Yeah, and this worked out quite well. It all was written in winter 23, 24.
Yeah.
I just had a cool flow to do it. Yeah.
It all sounds like once you got to that stage, it all became quite, as you say, flowing, quite natural. But in those early days, when you were kind of just
Yeah.
the early days of writing,
Okay.
did you find yourself being quite experimental? Like you had obviously evolved your sound, but did you know exactly then what it was going to be, or was it just kind of just coming out of you naturally?
Yeah, exactly. I would say it was the second one, I didn't have any plan and didn't know what would be the outcome in the end. It was just fun to write music without any boundaries and not to have to think about song structures and if there has to be a cool hook line or something. Yeah, I like that quite much. Yeah. Yeah, and it was quite experimental, but yeah, and the sound evolved, yeah, and I think I was even more experimental on the new album when it comes to instruments and sounds and something like that. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that there was no limitations? You set yourself no lines in the sand. If you thought it worked or wanted to try something, you did.
Yeah. As long as we are talking about the trilogy, I would say yes, yeah. Absolutely. It was quite different when it came to the album now, but yeah.
So, how quickly did you start to notice a difference between what you were writing for the 1 to 3 and what you were writing for 4 to 8? Like, what point did you sit there and go, "Oh, this is different for me, and I can feel it being different"?
I think I really wanted for myself to have more structures again and to create again more catchy music, if you can tell it in this yeah, in this kind of music. But yeah, I wanted it to be that you really can listen to it a whole album and not after 10 minutes say, all right, this is quite dark and monotone, but now I have enough of it. So I really didn't want to bore myself. So I wanted to lighten up it a bit. It was, my mood wasn't that dark anymore. So I wanted to get more melodies, more structures. And I wanted to that other people can get it and can go into it maybe a bit more than the 3 first songs. Yeah.
It's fair to say that what you were creating for this album, it reflected your personal mood. You say you were, I don't know if the right words to use, in a happier place.
Yeah, you can say that there were some personal challenges and not everything was very funny at that time. But when I wrote the album, I really would say my life just got a bit more, yeah, also more structured. And yeah, it was quite a new start in my life as well. I don't want to get too deep into that, but yeah, I think this, yeah, I wasn't quite aware of that at that time, but when I look at it now, I would say, yeah, you can just feel the mood before and afterwards when you listen to the album and the trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah, when you put them together and you listen to them as 2 complete projects next to each other, then of course, yes, you will, listener will easily identify different notes. Whether they understand any personal things that you might have been going through and so on is kind of not the point. You'll be able to hear it regardless and understand that there is a difference and there's a shift in your musical mood, clearly.
Yeah.
Talking about the writing then for this current album, what challenges did you run into? Earlier on, it implied that it flowed quite easily and it became quite naturally to you, and that perhaps you didn't actually have many challenges when it came to writing it. But did anything crop up where you kind of got stuck?
You mean if there were any problems, obstacles writing this sound? Or,
yeah, writing anything, any part of Evolve 4 to 8, where when writing it, you were challenged. You stopped for whatever reason. Maybe you had to step away for a week or 2.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And normally I really have that. And when I write music and then sometimes, yeah, I listen to it the next day and oh no, this was all bullshit, I will delete it. Or sometimes, yeah, as you said, just step back some days and listen again with fresh ears. But it wasn't this way at that time. It was really a flow, and I really liked that stuff I did. And um, every every time a track was ready, I really felt I really yeah, it was so much pleasure, and I really like to go on and create a new song. And um, I didn't know I want to do 5 tracks or something, but after the 5th track, I had the feeling, okay, now for me it's fine now, so we can finish now. So I can't explain why, but sometimes you got this feeling. So before you want to work and you want to go on, and it's really fun, and in the end there's any point and you feel, okay, now it's complete. I can't explain it, but it was that way. Yeah.
It is unexplainable, as you say. You just reach that point. It's incredible that that you got 5 from that period of time, and that I suspect had that feeling not come along, you probably would have got more. Maybe you could have carried on had you not had that feeling of stopping.
Yeah, I really wanted to stop. I think it wouldn't have been that easy if I really had to continue. And if someone had told me, you have to do 8 tracks, we
Ah.
need more, maybe this wouldn't have been good for the whole album. So I think it's fine as it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no question, no question. And the joy of being in control completely, right? That you can stop when you're ready, and there's no deadlines or like pressure to write another track because it needs to be this long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back a little bit here, specifically to the recording part of things. So you're on your way to the Attic Assembly Chamber in Germany to record. Do you remember how you were feeling as you were going into the studio, and how prepared did you feel you were?
Okay, I guess that's the moment I have to tell, to lift the secret that I didn't go into any studio, because the Attic Assembly Chambers is just my, yeah, it's the kind of room I record my music at home. So there's not really a studio I go to record music. It's all done at home. It's yeah. I always, uh, yeah, that's quite, yeah, I can't believe what you can do at home. So it's just many things you can record at this time. You don't have to go to a studio for too much. So, but there's the Grotesque Studios, which is run by a very good friend of mine, and Sebastian, with whom I make music since over 20 years in different projects and bands. And he has this Grotesque Studios, and he always does the mastering thing for my stuff. So I think without that, it wouldn't sound this fine and a bit huge. So yeah.
You were happy enough to hand it over to someone else at that stage.
Yeah, yeah. I think because if you do everything by yourself, even the mastering process, um, I'm not I'm not very good in that. I don't know how to do it. That's the
Mm.
first thing. But even if I would say, yeah, I know technically how it works and I can do everything by myself, I think it's good to give it to somebody else with just independent view on it and some fresh ears, because I really I'm not able to judge if it's good or if the mix is good or something. I need someone else to tell me, yeah, that's fine, or just maybe the drums a bit louder, or something like that. It's
Yeah.
quite good to have somebody who can just tell you, yeah.
Particularly from a professional setting as well. While you said yourself, long-time friend, but ultimately as well a professional masterer. So like you will get a more honest opinion, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been fascinating to learn the truth behind the Attic Assembly Chamber. It has
Sorry.
been. No, no, I love it. I love it. It's But even still, that recording process comes with a lot of fun aspects and challenging aspects. Let's start with the highlights of the entire recording process for the new album. What were some of your highlight moments that you really enjoyed?
Oh, I think a highlight moment was, the track 8 with the video, and there's in the beginning, everybody says there's this part with the bongos, but actually these aren't bongos, it's djembe, it's an African drum. Yeah, I played this by myself, so that's maybe not a fun part for my neighbors because they're quite on the next behind the next wall, and normally everything you can do very much on with your headphones, but not the African djembe. But then for the second verse of this song, I felt, okay, now there's again this djembe part and it's quite nice, but maybe it needs some more spice. And then I have this guitar, I can show you, I have it here. It's just a very old guitar, which sounds like this. Very bad. And you can't even tune it because everything it's just, yeah, it's damaged. It's not working anymore, I would say. But for this track, I just put under the djembe sound this, yeah, something like this. You can try it. So, and this makes a really strange, funny sound, I think. And it's, yeah, I really love those kinds of experiments recording this music, putting some delays and reverbs on some shit sound like that. And in the end, I felt, yeah, it sounds great. So, yeah, I like really to do these experiments. And maybe this is what you really can't do when you go when you have deadlines and when you go to a studio which is expensive and you have to be on time and everything has to happen fast. Then you won't have maybe you won't have the time and you wouldn't think about things like that. So I think that this was quite fun, maybe.
It sounds that I understand what you're saying as well. Ultimately, you couldn't mess around with a busted up guitar like that if you were on a
Yeah,
deadline and times. You
yeah,
wouldn't be able to.
yeah.
I'm so glad that had fun experimenting with that, and considering the wealth of instruments that still exist out in the world, I look forward to seeing what madness you get involved with in the future. But alongside that, of course, you are recording an album, you're creating something, and it has to walk on its own two legs into the world. So, alongside the positive side of things, what were some of the more challenging parts of recording this album?
Hmm. Uh, I didn't really feel it was really challenging because yeah, it was quite fun and worked really well. But if I start some project like this, I'm not able to go to work in the morning and come back in the evening and then say, okay, let's do 1 hour making music and then go sleeping or something. This wouldn't work for me. So if I start to make music, I need very much time, and maybe most time it's many hours to get in this mood and record and change things and start new, and until I can say, okay, for now, for today, it's all right. So I spend sometimes a whole weekend or a whole night recording music and trying out stuff like this, and it's really fun. But sometimes after that, I really feel quite empty and tired, and
Yeah.
maybe sometimes I think, okay, was it really worth it? And maybe it would have been better to meet some people and go outside and don't just hide in my chamber here. But yeah, I think that's the other part. So I shouldn't do this every day because it would be I think it would damage me. So.
We all have something like that in our life. Today is my day off. I have spent from 9 a.m. this morning till now, we're talking at 5, editing videos, editing interviews and all that. I know I should have gone outside for a little while, but
Yeah,
I can't. I've got to do, I want to do this.
yeah.
Um, it's really important, that you've got this project and how passionate you are about it. So sum up what you think this record says about Hjort as a whole.
Uh, what I would say about Hjort as a whole. Um, hmm, yeah, it's difficult for me to describe
Yeah.
the kind of music, and um, maybe it's easier for somebody who's not that involved, like I am. But I would say it's a really personal thing, and um, yeah, just intense, because all of this instrumental stuff, and you really, it's not easy listening, and no, not kind of music you can just yeah, just try out 1 minute and then decide if it's something for you or not. You really have to take time for it. So because otherwise I think you won't be able to judge if you like it or not. So yeah, it's something time consuming, intense, but delightful music, I would say.
What a fabulous choice of words. I agree with you. It is not for a Spotify playlist, so to speak.
Yes,
Um,
yeah,
as
you're right.
but if you want to feel something, you want to feel something delightful,
Yeah.
this is what it's for. Now, on that front, success, of course, is measured in so many different ways. You know this. What your personal view on success is will not be the same as what my view on success is. But I would
Mhm.
like to try and understand what would success for you, what would success for this album look like for you?
Mhm. I think it changed over the years, making music, because when I started making music and I played in some other bands, and it wasn't always this atmospheric, dark, and melancholic stuff. I played
Hmm.
in bands that were more mainstream, and played concerts, played some tours, and at that time everything was about, okay, would be nice if it's successful, if you play even more gigs, if the gigs get bigger, and maybe you can earn some money out of it. So this is, yeah, I think the reality is different now, and in this project it's quite different, because it's right from the heart. It's just music I do by myself. There's no band where I discuss things and change things, which is good as well, because sometimes the ideas get even better. But now this music is just the music really that comes from my heart. Everything is the way I do it and I want it to be. Um, and this is for me the first thing. This is, yeah, a kind of success for me to be able to release something like that. And I'm I really appreciate that there are a handful of people who like it, who feel quite similar things in the music than I feel, like I feel. I really appreciate that there's a small label who loves this stuff too and supports it. And yeah, as I said before, the biggest success is really when people take time to listen to it and feel something, discuss it, and make it relevant. I think this
Hmm.
is the last chapter in creating art, though the piece of art gets, yeah, how could I say it? Something will be art if somebody is talking about it. So if there wouldn't be anybody who's saying, yeah, I like it, or somebody who says, I hate it, so it wouldn't be complete, I think. So,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, it's really fine if some people are listening to it and talking about it. So this is cool. I really like that. I enjoy that when people are commenting and listening. So that's quite fine. And yeah, it could be more. Really, I would be really happy if there were more people listening to it. But I think this will never change. So it can be even better, and always can be even better and bigger and something. But it's quite fine as it is now.
You say that, but here we are right now. I'm in England, the UK, you're in Germany. We are talking as we are right now because of this album exists. That's spread it enough already further afield, and it just needs more of that, of course. So, fingers crossed that just continues to happen as the year goes on, and more people just even if they stumble across it, as you do, you
Yeah,
fall down a YouTube hole and suddenly you're watching a 9-minute video with wonderful, iconic landscapes and listen to beautiful music, and suddenly you're like, oh,
yeah.
who's this? There you go. Um, lastly, 2025 and going forward, basically, what kind of plans do you have in the work? Not necessarily just related to Hjort,
Mhm,
but just in general, what you might have in the works for as the year goes on.
mhm. Yeah, there's really something not really planned, but I'm working on a yeah new project. Not quite sure if it really will lead to something, but I'm creating some kind of music with. Can I tell this? I think I can. Yeah, I'm doing just some songs with the drummer of Haze Miasma, which is not really my. Also, at that time, it's not the main ideas are not from me, so it's more his project, I would
Hmm.
say. So it's quite interesting to support somebody else in yeah, bringing his thoughts, his
Vision.
musical thoughts to life and support him with some guitars and something. I really like that one. But I like to start again with Hjort. So I think there will be some songwriting for Hjort as well. And this isn't a secret as well, I guess. Um, yeah, we really would like to release a new album with Haze Miasma, which the music is ready. Everything around that has to be, to be finished. So, but I think this is the most goal in this year to release a new album with Haze Miasma. Yeah. So there's much to do, and it's mostly music, and it still continues, and yeah, and I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear you're happy about it. Busy, 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 positive busyness, and I'm glad to hear that, Johannes. You've given me over half an hour of your time. I really appreciate what you've done here, and I can't wait to see what comes next. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you. I'm really thankful that you give me the chance to talk about the York thing and my music, and yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.